like I'm holding my breath. Your blue eyes, I'm lost in the words that you say. Swore that I wouldn't do this tonight, but if you asked, honey, I wouldn't mind. I can feel the mercury rising. Can you feel the temperature climbing? Take the edge off the misery. Same place that we used to go together. You walked in, yeah, should know better. Cause you put your hands on my hips, I lean in, can't resist. Got carried away in that song, and now we're spinning slowly. Strange faces in a crowded room, or turning, twisting till it's just me and you. Yeah.
Hi, Tezza.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Can you see me? Can you hear me okay?
I can see it. It's perfect. Can you see and hear me okay?
Absolutely. I feel like that's the new, like, how's the weather question in the
Right.
digital era. It's like, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Totally.
Look at you, Tessa. How are you today?
I'm really good. It's a beautiful day. I'm here in Nashville. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It doesn't feel like December, so I can't
Right.
complain.
How's Christmas in Nashville, Tessa? What's the vibe there?
You know, it's weird because I'm from upstate New York. So
Yeah.
we do Christmas. Nashville's different because it's not snowy. It's kind of sunny. It's warm. They have some Christmassy stuff, but it's just not the same.
Right. Okay. It's
Yeah.
it's good. It's probably not as bad as Florida. Florida is really trippy because you have the palm trees. It's just, it doesn't go, man, you know?
Yeah.
So Tessa, super excited to have you on the show for many reasons. But one of them, and we kept coming back to this, is, you're not defined by this pandemic. You're defined by what you do in this pandemic. And you are an artist, Tessa, that has grown so much this year. You've had so many good things to talk about in this year that it's a blessing. It's what a year you've had, Tessa.
Yeah, it's been a really strange year with everything that's gone on, but honestly, I can't complain. I mean, it's been one of the best musical year I've had to date, actually. So it kind of weirdly worked out in my favor.
Absolutely. And, look no further than like yesterday or this week, where Spotify users may, go to their little discovery section, and in the Fresh Finds country, in the cover section, you will see our guest here in her shining glory. So.
No, that was a great surprise. Spotify has been just so supportive, through the whole process, to be honest. I released my first single 8 or 9 months ago, a little less than a year. And then I released my current second single about 3 weeks ago.
Mercury Rising, right?
Yeah, and then Spotify has just the whole way through. I mean, we've gotten on all kinds of playlists, and it was amazing. We got on Hot Country and New Boots, and yesterday I found out that I was on the cover of Fresh Finds, which was just a really nice surprise.
Absolutely. Yeah, Wild Country, Next from Nashville, you name it. And the single has, I think, 2.5 million streams. Like, it's just on fire, Tessa. Yeah. So let me start with this. So these are your first holidays in Nashville, you said, right?
I've been in Nashville actually about 5 years, but like you said, I've actually never spent a Christmas here.
Right. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So is your family in upstate New York?
They are. Yep, all of them.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel to be in the holidays, kind of like not with them?
Yeah, it's definitely a different feeling. I got to spend some time with them the past few months. I was able to go home. Actually, because of the pandemic, one of the nice things is I've been able to work remotely. So everything that I do is mostly this. I do a lot of Zooms, a lot of calls, a lot of interviews that are either on my phone or my computer. So I've actually been able to do that from anywhere I want. So I actually got to go home for a couple weeks, see my family, do it from Nashville, from New York. I mean,
cool.
you do it now.
It's almost like you're being more efficient and working more. And that's cool. That's great. I'm glad that you're that you're adapting, Tessa. So yeah, of course, Mercury Rising has been huge. You mentioned in January was your first single.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Broome Country, New York, where you're from, Tessa.
Yep.
You know, because did you come from a musical family, Tessa?
You know, my family always loved music,
Mhm.
but no one ever did it professionally. They just kind of loved it and loved being around it, and I think it kind of grew on me that way. My mom listened to the '90s, 2000s women country, so I mean,
Nice.
we did every CD: Faith Hill, Shania Twain, Trisha Yearwood. I could literally still sing you every single word. So I did grow up around it, but my family didn't necessarily do it as a career or get paid for it, or they just
Yeah.
had a love for it.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, and when did you make that like when did you realize, like, Mom, I can be an artist? Like I have that it factor. When was that moment?
You know, I always loved music, but when I started getting into high school, I realized that that's really what I had a passion for, and that's what I wanted to do. So
Hmm.
I started a band, and we started touring, and playing festivals and bars, and we were playing like 4 or 5 nights a week. And I was in
Yeah.
high school, so I was making good money. I was doing what I loved. I was like, I cannot see myself doing anything else. And I think
What
that's
did you like
like,
about it so much, Tessa? Like, what made you feel alive? Was it the connection? What was it?
yeah, I think it's both. I think it's one, everyone has a different way of, connecting with people. And I definitely found that being on stage and writing songs and being able to connect with people that way was something that I really enjoyed. Um, and there's just nothing like being on stage in front of a lot of people. I mean, there's just the adrenaline rush alone. You're just like, so yeah, I fell in love with it. And ever since then, it's never really been a choice. It's just kind of like what I do. People will say, well, what else do you do? Like, do you have hobbies? Do you have another job? And I really don't. I mean, music is
Yeah.
what I,
It's your purpose.
yeah, it's my
It's your
purpose.
purpose, and you're actually giving love through your
Yeah.
music, and that's what sometimes it's like your music inspires people, and you get that feedback. So you're doing an act of love in a way,
Yeah.
Absolutely, Tessa. So you mentioned your songwriting. I really like your songwriting, Tessa, because it's really good. It's actually really layered, and it goes really well with the playful production, but it's deeper than one may think. Got me thinking about it, like with Around the Truth, for example.
Mhm.
So I did want to ask you. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask Tessa about the songwriting process because it's fascinating. When you're working, Tessa,
Mhm.
because people see you having fun and people see you on stage, but it is work. What's the process like? Do you go from like 9 to 5? Do you tell your friends, your family, listen, I'm gonna go and songwrite, or is it kind of like when inspiration hits you?
I think it's kind of both, to be honest. It is a job for sure. I mean, there's inspiration and that has to feed it, but it's also a job. I mean, you can write 50 songs. Of those 50 songs, maybe 5 of them are something that you actually like or can see yourself doing. So it
Right.
definitely takes pushing yourself, even when you don't feel inspired and you don't feel like sitting there and writing a song. But there's also times that you sit down and you just don't feel inspired at all. And sometimes it's okay to recognize that and walk away, and come back when you feel like you're going to get something accomplished versus just sitting there and, racking your brains and just getting nothing. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a fine line. And it's a little different with Around the Truth. That song I actually wrote by myself. So that was definitely a different experience than it is co-writing. They're just a different animal.
Yeah.
Um, I think both are great, and they both. I mean, not one's not better than the other. It's just you get something different. So it kind of depends on the song. It kind of depends on what you want. Around the Truth, I wrote by myself. Mercury Rising, I wrote with a friend of mine, and so they're different.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy the process, Tessa? I ask because, like Billy Joel, Billy Joel, the other day he said, I read that, still to this day, when he sits down in front of the piano, he sees it like a shark with teeth. Like he still does not enjoy the process sometimes. Is the process fun for you?
It is, but there's days that you don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. There's days where it's like it just feels kind of overwhelming because to me, I think the hardest part of songwriting to me is that there is no right or wrong. It's not like doing a math equation where you sit down and either you get it right or you get it wrong. There's no in between. Songwriting, there really is no right or wrong.
Yeah.
It ends up being what you want it to be and what you want to be the end product. So I think that's the most difficult part for me is knowing when to just be done or cut it off or that it's good the way it is. And I think that for me, I struggle with that a bit. Yeah. So it can be frustrating, but I think just pushing through it.
You struggle with like letting it go.
Yeah. Certain songs, you're just
Yeah.
not sure, you can be not sure if is it right, You know, you could always change it. You could always twist one word, or you could always, you know, so you have to at some point say, okay, it's done, put it over here and move on.
Right. So when you hear like Mercury Rising, or like in public or whatever, do you feel like, man, I wish I would have changed this word, something like that, or it is what it is?
You know, every once in a while you hear something in a recording that you're like, oh, I could have changed this, or I could have done this differently. But actually, I'm really happy. It took me a really long time to get a group of songs written that really spoke to me, and then also recorded in a way. So it took me a long time to get this set of songs and get them the way I wanted. So I'm actually really happy with the way they came out.
Yeah, for sure, Tezza. I mean, I do want to ask you about all the heavy hitters that you've played with and opened with, but first, you know, you're so good at social media, and it's like, but I wanted to ask you, like, is it exhausting? Because it feels like every week there's like something new. It's like now you have Instagram Reels, now TikTok is like not so cool, like iTunes is for the old geezers now. Like it's a never-ending like saga of energy.
Yeah.
How do you do it, Tezza? Like, what's your secret? Do you sleep at all? Do you have like how do you do all these hats and do them great?
You know, I think it can be very overwhelming. Exactly what you're saying. It feels like every day there's something new, and every day there's more that you should be doing. But I think you just have to focus on what you think is important, because at the end of the day, you're one person, and it feels really overwhelming. And we all go through this, and I'm guilty of it too. You know, I do wear all the hats right now. But sometimes you just need to accept the fact that there's only so much you can get done. You do the best you can do, and you focus on the things that you think are important, you know, because there's only one, and if you spread yourself too thin, then you're not really accomplishing anything. You're just doing little bits of everything instead of a few things really well.
Unbelievable. Wow. Your mindset is spot on, you know? No, it's like, yes, we can all apply that to like every facet of our lives, you know, like family, the whole thing. I love it. Love it.
Well, thank you.
Of course, it's true, Tezza. You know, you've opened. Let's talk about that. I mean, you've opened for so many big time players. You've shared the stage. You know, everyone from Hunter Hayes, Granger Smith. Like before the pandemic, this was like your this was like your every weekend kind of thing. What's the experience like opening for someone like Granger Smith, right? That he has such an experience with his fans. Like, what do you learn from that? Like, what do you take from that?
You know, it's funny because you learn something different. I feel like you learn something different from every artist that you open with, because everyone has different strengths. Granger Smith has, I mean, I don't know how he's done it, but he has grown this dedication of fans. I mean, they are diehards. I mean, it was packed wall to wall. Couldn't see a space. There was just people. And they're all there because they love him. They love his music. They're just there to experience the whole thing. So he's really cultivated this fan base that will literally follow him wherever he goes. They'll buy all of his merch. They'll buy his CDs. They'll support him. They want him to do well. So I think the biggest thing I took from him was how to build a real fan base, and not just a come and go. You know, oh, we like this song, and then that's it. You know, they will literally follow him state to state. Whatever new music he puts out, they buy. You know, they just genuinely love him as an artist. They love his music, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to, you know, help him succeed. So I mean, I think that's an amazing thing to accomplish as an artist.
Yeah, totally. And I think you're doing that. Like your fans, you have a really solid, devoted group of fans, which is super cool to see. Let's talk about your fashion, Tezza, because I don't know, you are like a fashion icon in the making. I don't know if you are aware of this fact, but I mean, look, I see you in 10 years, both with the Country Music Awards and in Vogue, with like the spring with you.
Keep you around.
Well, listen, it's true, Tezza. It's true. You're like a little fashion. It's part of you. And it's such a wonderful thing. And you always have like great bright colors, but different. I feel like sometimes you're orange, sometimes you're blue, sometimes you're bright pink. Tell us a little bit about you, color, you, fashion, how it fits into you as an artist and as a person.
Yeah. I think fashion and the way you dress, and I think all of that kind of builds into a brand, and it's also a reflection of who you are, you know. And I think sometimes it's nice to be able to dress and feel comfortable and say, you know, this is who I am. So when you see somebody, you get a little glimpse of what they like and what they gravitate towards. And I think I've realized through the years that I do country music, and I love country music, and I've grown up on it, but I definitely have this Northeastern flair to it. I mean, I just gravitate towards, there's just a difference between the Northeast, even fashion, even just a way of life versus the South. And it's just what I'm used to. So I'm very like high pace, like let's get this done. I like sleeker, kind of high fashion-y New York, like a mix of things. So it's taken me a long time to get there, but I try, and especially with music videos, sorry about that. I try to get whatever I can get so it reflects who I am and what I like. And
yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful mix.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the South, the country meets, you know, Gossip Girl meets really cool,
Yeah.
like a really cool blend of situation going on. That's wonderful. Yeah, you know, let's talk about 2021. We're pretty much 2021.
Yep.
What can you tell us, obviously without spoiling any surprises, but what can you tell us? What are the what's in the cards for you coming up?
I mean, it's been a weird year. So we had planned a bunch of touring and opening just like I had done last year. And that was supposed to happen this year. But obviously with the pandemic, we've all had to change our plans. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting back on the road. We have some shows booked tentatively, but a lot of the times they book and say, you know, don't really release or talk about it until it happens, because there's still that chance that with everything that's going on in the world that it could fall through. So definitely some live shows. I've got some new music coming out after the new year. I'm actually about to release like a merch line, like a brand. It's funny that you brought that up, but it's like branding, merch, fashion. It's a mix of merch for myself as an artist, but I also wanted to create items that, you know, I would buy off of a rack at like, you know, some boutique, whether it had my name on it or not. So that was kind of my focus, and I'll be releasing that hopefully within the next couple of weeks as well. So we got a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on.
Super exciting. Super exciting. Well, listen, Tessa, you've said it all. I do want to wish you a happy new year, but I want to commend you because, again, you know, you've proven that, you know, you're not stopped by circumstance.
That's right.
And that's one of like your coolest things. And you know what? Maybe that's not visible to the world, but it's visible to the universe. And
Yes.
that comes back to you.
Absolutely. And I think we have that in common because you have not stopped and we're on this together and you're just plugging right along. So I commend you for that. And I really appreciate you having me on, especially being independent artists. You know, it's great to have, you know, an outlet and a way to be heard. And so it takes people like you. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that, Tessa. We know where you're going. So excited to have you. Thank you so much, Tessa.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye.